Hey, and welcome back to EventTech Live Las Vegas. We're still on day one, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Brandt from Eidecom. Hey, Brandt.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And this is your first EventTech Live.
Live in person, yes, it is my first one. I've been trying to get over to London for quite a few years now, just wasn't able to ever make it go, and I believe I had an event that crossed over with last year's, so finally get to be here. It's exciting.
Well, I feel honored and privileged that you've come and spoken to us in your first one. I know you've done lots of virtual stuff with us and stuff like that, so great to see you in 3D. So we've been asking others what their some industry insights is essentially what we're after. So I'm gonna throw an easy curveball for you, which is a contradiction I appreciate. What are you seeing? Our industry is moving so fast at the moment, and what if you had to put your name on a stamp? What do you think the next 12 to 18 months looks like? What are we going to start to see?
Yeah, I hate to do it because it's feeding the hype cycle, but we're going to continue to hear a lot about AI. I mean, even if you just look at the sessions that are here, today and tomorrow, I don't know what the percentage of them are that have the word AI in the title, but high would be a safe bet. So that, unlike the metaverse prior to this, unlike the Bitcoin and NFT and blockchain hype train that was before that, unlike the AI hype train that was before that.
Yeah.
This one has some legs.
Legit.
It's got some legs. It's going to get weirder before it gets less weird. And just think about where we were a year ago compared to where we are now. And there's no sign that trajectory is going to slow down in any way, shape, or form.
And what do you expect? What do you expect? At Eidecom, what do you think the best parts of AI are going to be, or too soon to tell still, or do you have an insight?
No. I mean, that's one of the things that I'm trying to speak about here are real practical things. Like, that's what makes this feel different, is looking at the metaverse hype of a couple of years ago. There's still people who are kind of left with but what does it do for me?
Yeah, exactly.
And this particular round of hype cycle on AI, there are immediate things that you can do right now that will make you faster at your job, better at your job, if you are a creative, if you are in planning. So, a lot of things that we're looking at are just how do we improve our own processes using these tools. We're not replacing anybody, we're not using it to write our blog articles or anything like that. But what you can do is you can use it to very quickly generate scene designs, things like that. So rather than spending days rendering something only to have the client go, meh, what else you got? You can come to the table with real, almost like mood boards, right? Like, of course it's not going to be perfect. It's AI. It's going to be a little weird.
Yeah.
There's maybe people with 6 fingers and stuff like that. But what you can do, though, is bring very, very quickly to the table completely original, completely new designs and say, what do you like out of this? And then maybe you can pull elements out of those designs that were generated in a minute and a half, as opposed to having somebody spend 6 hours rendering it in Unreal Engine or something like that.
So idea generation, I guess, is where you are.
Idea generation, anything that helps you do your job faster. We fed a 45-page RFP into a ChatGPT type service, had it summarize it, asked it, what are the top 3 concerns of this client? And we did that actually after we'd had the client meeting with that client. Okay. And those 3 concerns were exactly the top 3 concerns that they had.
Okay, so anyone watching that ever does RFPs, anything you can do to make them easier.
At the very least, summarize.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, the 46 is small, isn't it? Okay, great. So you're on the AI train, and that's it. So any tips on what our audience at home, our event professionals, what AI they should be looking out at, what they can see? Yeah,
it's again, fast-moving things, but OpenAI's ChatGPT is still very strong. Google's Gemini is coming on very strong. Microsoft's Bing is slower. But which is funny because they invested in OpenAI. So those are the ones to watch out for. An image generation, Midjourney is still very good. The built-in OpenAI, DALL-E is still very good. So I just encourage people to dabble. Just don't be afraid, dabble, use the free plans. In our session later, we're going to be showing some of the generative music that you can do where you just say, write a song about Will and Brandt doing a presentation. And it does it in 35 seconds. It's crazy. And so, keep playing with it. think about what can I use to lean into these tools' strong points, like summarization, taking a large data set and extracting the most salient points, helping you as a writer, not replacing you as a writer, but helping you as a writer to be a better writer and at least get the creative juices flowing so you're not staring at a blank page. Those are the things I'd focus on.
There's almost a case at the moment that anything you hate doing, there'll be a way to improve it through ChatGPT or something to just get it over there. So I agree. Encourage people just to have a dabble is a great bit of advice.
Exactly.
So what you just said leads me on nicely to what you're doing here, what you're up to here at your first EventTech Live in person. So you're speaking later?
Yes,
Tell us about that.
Presenting on a couple different sessions on AI. So doing one with my buddy Will Curran from Bizzabo and Click. He and I are going to be talking about, again, very practical uses for AI for planners, aimed specifically at planners. And here's the things we're using it for. Here's how we're seeing it used in production, even live event production, on the fly, dealing with images and things like that. There's so many little things that it can do to impact your world. Then I'm going to be on a panel later today. North Star Meetings, Michael Shapiro, Tess Vismail, Adam Perry will be part of that panel, again discussing AI and some practical uses out of that. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be speaking in my Eidecom production role, talking about really kind of the straight dope on how people can actually save money on audiovisual technology.
Okay.
There's lots of very easy things that people can do, looking inward as well as outward on how to save money on their AV.
Yeah, that's obviously something true to my heart. So I'll be sure to check that out. If people are thinking about coming tomorrow, what time will they check you out tomorrow?
So tomorrow it's right at the end of the day. So that audiovisual session, I want to say it's 3:00.
Okay.
Yeah, right towards the end of the day.
It's on the check the app.
Yeah, it's on the app.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, one last one. I just want to get your opinion on where we are with virtual and hybrid these days. There was a time that virtual was a dirty word, and I think it's cleaned that up a little bit. Online seems to be a buzzing word about it at the moment, but where do you see the place for that?
You'll be shocked to hear that I have an opinion on this. I was big into hybrid and live events pre-pandemic. Got lucky enough to get mixed into the crowd that was experimenting with this stuff early on, using Skype for the back end. 40-second delays between when you'd say something and when the audience would hear it. It was really rough. It was held together with paper clips. But I really felt, even at that time, that there was a place for hybrid in exposing your audiences. You think about the sales funnel that people talk about in sales, like getting people into your events at that high level. Hybrid's a great way to do that. Virtual is a great way to do that. So if you've got 6 events over the course of the year, consider making one of them virtual, one of them hybrid, just to open that up to your audience. Then obviously pandemic came along, hardcore, everything's online. And now when we came out of it, I felt like the pendulum swung hard back to in-person. And that's great, hey, we're happy to hear it. I'm happy to get the hugs, loved everybody, missed everybody, all of that good stuff. But the problem is that during the pandemic, we opened up our events to audience members that might not necessarily have been part of that organization, part of that event in the past. So I think about people with disabilities. I think about how far we went into translation services, auto captioning, all of those kinds of tools. And then as soon as we came hardcore back into in-person events, it's like, okay, well, we were glad to have brought you into the fold, but now you can go back over there. So especially people with physical disabilities, the navigating to get to the airport, the flight, going down in the little wheelchair down the aisle, then navigating another airport, and then getting to the hotel, and then navigating a convention center. We've kind of forgotten all of those people who, for a brief period of time, along with all the terribleness of the pandemic, there was a brief period of time where everyone is equal on our events. And I think we have to be careful because we've left a lot of those audiences behind. So I'm really excited, bring it full circle, to come to here at EventTech Live where we're seeing auto translation services. Yeah. We're seeing auto captioning services by default, right? It's not something that's being, special requested for. It's just there. And so I'm really glad to see that. And hopefully that's what I think we can do with virtual and hybrid events, is expose our events to other audiences, especially when it comes to disabilities.
That's a really great story, actually, the forgotten audience. And there's a lot of talk about environmental factors, but the accessibility thing does seem to, and you're right, absolutely right, virtually is great for that. Brandt, it's been really good. I suspect we could talk for another 2-3 hours about stuff, but I will let you go back to your first thing. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Pleasure.